Welcome to the Crownsman Show, everyone. I'm feeling great. I hope you are too. I'm one of your hosts, Jared Downey. We've got Rory Bamford hailing from our fabulous Kamloops studio, and Roy Slack in his newly made studio as well. A giant facility. It's got a washer on the other side of that wall that sometimes joins the show. Welcome, both of you. Rory, how are you feeling today? How's you spiritually, mentally, physically? How you doing?
Spiritually, definitely always amazing.
Okay.
Mentally, I don't want to go into that.
Okay.
And I forgot the last question.
Physically.
Oh, physically. Getting a lot of workouts, like the back is strengthening up.
Good.
So that's really good.
Good. Shoveling that snow in beautiful Kamloops.
So much snow this year. So much.
Yeah,
just mountains of it.
Now I realize I'm resorting to talking about the weather, so I'm going to move on. Roy, how is it going? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I feel young.
No.
Yeah, I feel like I'm 60.
60. All right. Yes, you've looked at 2 as well.
Oh, thank you very much. You don't know how comforting those words are.
You know me. I'm always trying to inspire. Gaudy, how are you doing today? Thumbs up. Gaudy won't even talk now on the show. She's not joining in on it.
She's like, I don't know what these buttons do anymore.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better not to be associated with certain things that are...
Exactly. Also,
Yeah.
I feel attacked. I was ready to go and just waiting, making sure that everybody, you all had conversations going. I was raised to not interrupt conversations. And then I was attacked because I wasn't prepared or ready to go.
Like he said, you weren't prepared because you weren't prepared. Maybe that's the issue, Gaudy. Sorry.
Highly unlikely.
No,
You know what?
I think it's because she was raised right is why she's not on the show.
Okay. Well, let's not have that debate, gentlemen. We're going to talk some heavy industry. We're going to talk. I don't know what your topics are. I'm going to talk some branding stuff. Rory, before we get going, Rory, what are we drinking today? This is brought to you by Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer. Rory, we get paid every time, right?
Every single time.
Every single time. Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer. Rory, what do we got today? What do you got us drinking?
We've got
it's a Port Side Pilsner is the name of the beer, and it's by Lock Street Brewery out of Dalhousie.
Oh.
Uh-oh. We have a spill. I'm going to be right back.
Do you need a bib, Jared?
Gaudy,
Right
we
back.
need to work together pretty much every day, so can we just need to make peace and just
We'll be
get
right
along.
back.
I may be.
Very
But yes,
environmental
I would
event
like a
here.
bib.
Yikes.
I actually do need a bib. So.
I just need to make sure my computer's okay.
Oh, okay. You don't need to show off, Roy.
Nice.
So there's a story behind this beer too, Jared, is that when my wife wanted to move to St. Catharines and was trying to convince me, we came down and we had lunch at Lock Street Brewery,
Oh, that's a
which
good
is
move by
actually
her.
walking distance from where I live now.
Really good move by her.
And
Dirty move.
and this beer was an award winner at the last Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer. Oh, geez, that's going to cost me. AGM, the annual general meeting that we have each year, our annual golf meeting, actually. But it was, out of 20 beers we sampled at that last session, it was
20 beers.
top score. So, yeah, it's quite a regimented process for
Roy?
the first few.
Which beer was this? Was this like number 19, number 20? That's
Number 20. It was
yeah.
perfect beer. Yeah.
It's all good. I don't know. I know what it scored. I don't know when it scored.
Well, stick around with everybody till the very end. This is going to be a 4-hour show, and at the very last 2 minutes, we will give the score. So,
yeah, we believe in long form.
yeah, move over, Joe Rogan. We're just getting started.
I have to go in 10 minutes.
Gaudy. Gaudy's putting on her coat already. I was okay. What do we want to go with? Who went first last week? I can't remember. Was it Rory? Did you go?
I think so. I think we were talking about like nuclear and stuff.
Right. Okay. Should I kick things off?
Yeah, I want to talk. I want to hear your thing. It's actually interesting, Jared, because it's funny how we don't even like plan the topics and like the overlap naturally forms. But
Well,
anyway,
it's because the
I think
universe connects us, Rory.
it is true.
It is
It
true.
is true. We've been working on it for a long time to make sure we stay in that bubble.
Stay in that bubble. Well, and I was just thinking we should do, because I started business in 2005, and I think on this show there's about 120 years of experience. Rory, I don't know exactly how long you've been in business, but with Rory and I,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And I was just thinking, Rory, about the service that we offer, how good it's been, and just sort of wanting to share, like sort of just my own personal desire to share a lot. So I thought we should discuss the challenge of coming up with a slogan. And we're going to look at some companies that have done it really well, but I came up with 5. And please feel free to add any, but I came up with 5 things you should always do when you're putting together a slogan. Okay. Always mention, and I snuck some of those in just now. Always mention how long your company has been registered for. Slogans
100%.
like "in business since 2005" are hard to beat. Add up all your team's experience, and that total could be your slogan.
Sorry.
Talk about yourself. Things like, how great, how skilled you are. Those.
Where's this advice coming from? Is this your advice to us, Jared?
I've worked on this week. Never let people never let people assume you have great service. Say it. I only got one left. Combine all these tips if you can
into
one
your
slogan.
company name or your company slogan?
Into your company slogan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man, I knew that was coming, and I still couldn't. I still couldn't.
anything.
Those are all perfect.
I know. Oh no, we've been hammering at those.
So really, you want to be like Crowns and Partners, serving you with 120 years of experience. No, it'd be more.
Since
No, it'd be more than that.
2000 to 2019,
Yep.
with the best service in media. Something like that would be a perfect slogan.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Let's talk about our heavy industry tour brought to you by Orica Digital Solutions, leading drill and blast into a new era with Next Gen Shot Plus. With market-leading design tools and predictive modeling capabilities, Next Gen Shot Plus equips drill and blast professionals to effectively improve blast designs and achieve optimal outcomes. Click below to learn more about Next Gen Shot Plus. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's heavy industry tour.
Effortless Corporate Traveler Management is here with Corporate Traveler Canada. Boost your business with trusted expert solutions that save time, money, and enhance the traveler experience. Trusted by thousands of companies worldwide. Book and track your travels on your phone or let your dedicated consultant handle it for you. Enjoy 24/7 support and live chat from any time zone and get real-time travel alerts anywhere you go. Your next business trip just got easier. Learn more about Corporate Traveler Canada at corporatetraveler.ca. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsman.com.
Anything to add, Roy? I know that's going to be hard to really go in deeper than what I just did, but if you have anything.
Well, I'll tell you, when we started out, the name Slack Contracting didn't make the grade.
Yeah.
Then I tried, I tried Middle Earth Engineering. Your ore is
good.
precious.
Pretty good.
Okay, I like
Pretty
that.
good.
That's good.
Yeah. There were a few. We had some. You should have seen the graphic there, but probably trademarked.
That, it's, and obviously this is in jest, but everything that I actually touched on are probably the most common uses of slogans. And so I did actually want to talk about it because it is hard to do. It's hard to get away from all these just overused sort of things. And so I was trying to find a company within heavy industry that has what I think is a good one. So I brought up ABB. They did a 3-part series with us. Roy, was this last year that they did that?
Yeah, it was, I think. No,
I did one and you did two, I think.
I think it was maybe last year.
It was, yes. Yeah, it was. Because they're just coming to the end of their promotion now. And they just did a new one in 2024. Their slogan is "Engineered to Outrun."
That's pretty cool.
It's a good one. And I'm just going to read it we'll put a link to it if people want to read the full media announcement. But "Engineered to Outrun," which replaces "Let's Write the Future Together." The new brand positioning centers around the word outrun, and its meaning consists of two parts, which I love this. Keeping ABB's partners running consistently at high performance, and at the same time helping them constantly run more productively and efficiently so that they can outperform. And this,
I love how with their
go ahead.
electronics that it's with their equipment, it's actually a perfect word, because if you want to think of something that's going to go on and on and on, like their motors and all that, that's pretty brilliant.
It's much better than engineered to run out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
True.
Well, and I thought going out, now I was trying to find their "Let's Write the Future Together." Now, they're a client of ours. I don't want to get in too much trouble, but that is, I actually should have added another thing to the list. Make sure it's some high social sort of idea that nobody can really attain. And that's what a lot of these slogans have become. I've noticed a big trend in the last 5 years. You don't even know. I was on a website the other day. I couldn't even figure out what they did. I could not figure out what they actually made. They make a physical product. I knew that because I was talking to a potential supplier of theirs. And I was on their website and I couldn't figure it out. So I had to scroll through and I finally found the parts that they actually made. They layered in so much sort of idealism that I couldn't even get to the product anymore.
Yeah.
And I think people do that with slogans.
Yeah, I think there's a marketing group there trying to win an award. And I've seen that too, Jared. I've seen suppliers that send me information, and that's the biggest turnoff of all. I just don't. If I don't know what they're trying to sell, I don't respond. What they're trying to sell, what their service is, I don't know how to respond, so I don't.
Right. Well, and I think the other thing is the best service in the industry and things like these sort of redundant. You should allow people to assume you have good service. You should not need to actually say it. Rory, we've had tons of talks about this.
Jerry, do you know what? It's an interesting one too. So SMS Equipment, another client doing a bunch of content with us running into 2025, which is awesome. They're obviously a big distributor for Komatsu, and their slogan is "We build machines to answer the needs of society," which
perfect.
Again, I think that's pretty brilliant in the sense that they're actually kind of going deeper in what's needed, what's being built, and they're going, yeah, we're gonna provide that. And I don't know when they put that one out, but again, you get on their website and it's right there. We're building machines. You go, okay, what machines are they building? Obviously, you go through dozers and all their haul trucks, their lineup, but it really establishes what Roy said. You go onto some of these websites, you're like, what am I looking at? What is going on?
Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Join us in the depths of the mining world, where global leaders and industry giants converge to shape the future of mining. From groundbreaking technologies, advanced machinery, revolutionary safety measures, to sustainable initiatives. This is the voice of mining. This is Mining Now. Showcase your company to millions worldwide. Book your episode now. Visit crownsman.com.
When we started cementation, and I wouldn't say coin the phrase, but our philosophy was a best for project philosophy. And that stemmed from some history in contracting, where contractors would typically look, how do we maximize margin? and the owner would look at how do we reduce margin when really, we wanted to take the approach, both parties want to do what's best for the project. And that philosophy, which was the company was based on, I started to hear people in engineering, I started to hear people at the project, at the face, talk about doing what's best for the project. And it was really gratifying to see that philosophy at the face, because you can see it on a website and on, framed on the wall in the office. But when you've got something that resonates with your people and your clients, because I heard some clients talking about they wanted to make best for project decisions, and you knew that they were, it had stuck. So, but again, that came from past projects where decisions were made that probably weren't best for the project.
Did you use that as a slogan, Roy? Or
yeah,
and
that's a slogan, our mantra, our manifesto, our philosophy.
Yeah.
And Roy, now when you go into cementation, it's we build mines, period, safely, period, which I also really love, because when people talk, when I'm in a conversation and we come up, like we talk about like you hosting shows, you can see they know immediately that there's the safety aspect behind that philosophy. And I think that's an amazing thing. It's one of those things you have a family and you're like, why would you ever want to go to a job where safety isn't number one? Like that should not be a badge of honor.
With those three words, we build minds, but people, they actually run deep because the we isn't cementation. The we is cementation, the owner, the suppliers, the partners. It's we,
right?
Like the overall group. Build is a positive word, and we wanted to be definitive, but we can't say we build mines and head frames, and So what's the word that best describes what we do? So originally it was we build mines, and the concept was we could say we build mines safely, we build careers, we build relationships. It was all based on a we build format.
Right.
And the safely came out at one point, and we said, that describes perfectly what we do in every situation. So it stuck. Yeah. But we did have a marketing group we worked with that said, well, they wanted to change that. And as a business leader, these are people that this is what they do for a living, and you listen to them and you say, should we do that? And I went to our people. We didn't have a big company then. I went to our people, and the people I talked to said, no, we build mines. So we stuck with that. But, the whole marketing and the branding, because we talked about this before, you're branding for the market, but you're also branding for your people.
Yes.
There's internal branding, and then there's a branding you want to attract people to work for you. So
a big one that I find talking to clients is I really one of our values is to have exceptional production, like the quality of the episodes and also of the tracking now with the one-click conversion. And I was on a meeting yesterday and I was because I was talking about that, and he's like, yeah, your content is really good. I'm like, okay, so the defining of it, people recognize that and they actually look to see if it's BS or is it real. And I thought, for me, I was like, that's really good. And I see it even with the team. Even the team is one of the things one of our editors did, she made a form so that people, when they want to put in content, they have this nice form now. It outlines how you put in a tag, where in the episode to add images or content, and it's delivering that exceptional content, because it does come, again, we provide a platform, we do an interview, but you have to bring in the content to tell the story of each client. So just see what you're saying, safely being a part of your slogan for cementation, to me that really stands out. And same with and the exceptional part on just with Crownsman, that's been a real, it's not in it's the voice of the voice of industry, but as a value, people are really starting to gravitate towards that.
It's and a lot of people have used this slogan before, but it really applies with Crownsman, a cut above, because there's so much content out there, and you see it, and it's everything from someone doing a TikTok through to a company doing it internally, a marketing agency doing it, but then you begin to add the experience, the production quality, the preparation, which people don't see. That you were talking about, Rory. So when it all comes together, you can tell the difference.
That's a good point too. The preparation, which is all that behind the scenes, people really like that too. But yeah,
so with that plug, I'm hoping you'll charge me one less cranky old man drinking beer.
No, Rory, we just want to stay consistent and just, we don't want to sort of muddle things up. So we'll just send that standard invoice. But thank you.
Thanks so much.
Stupid.
Why do I drink?
Okay, you touched on, there's a few good points, and I wanted to, a couple things. The two meanings, Roy, that you gave behind your slogan, that it's not just like we build minds, but it's all of us building minds. And the same thing, Rory, with like our slogan is the voice of industry. And it was actually Gus was the first person who interpreted it for me. I was like, oh, you actually got it. Thank you. Because the voice of industry is not us. Yeah. So we're trying to represent the voice of industry as a united thing. And these are in different sectors in that. And that double meaning, it's same with ABB. They've got this double meaning behind their slogan. That's one. The other thing I think is so important, going back to this sort of this one is the slogan should be attainable. It should not be beyond reality because, like you're saying, Rory, about people going and checking it.
Yeah.
If you say we're changing the world of heavy industry, if that was our slogan, people would go and they'd see the content and they'd go, well, not really. You're doing interviews. You're not really changing the world. And you do see those types of slogans. I would even say, again, try not to get in trouble here, but ABB's old slogan is, let's write the future together. Well, ABB is helping the future, but it's not writing the future. It's a little bit beyond the possibility.
And writing is a little that word where they're like we help industries outrun. That makes so much sense, and because that's what they're doing.
And
they're
they can
equipment.
do that. You look at ABB, you're like, oh, you can accomplish this thing.
Yeah.
And I think and the other one that the other one you touched on, Roy, is anyone about that quality. Anybody can do an interview. You can literally hold up your phone and back away from it, and the two of you can be in a camera and doing it. It's all the layers. Anybody can. I mean, you can even buy a machine and start digging holes. Like you can do this stuff.
Yeah.
But who does it the best? Who does it the safest? Who does it the most efficient? I was just talking to a drilling company, Dorado, that's going to come on. And one of the topics that they're going to talk about is their certification that they have. So basically, they don't just throw the hoses on the drill and go to the site. They have a way that they put all the hoses on the machine and all the rigging is done, and they're certified to do it. And there's only one other company in Canada, or in Western Canada anyway, that has that certification. So right away there's a certain level, not necessarily of even the drilling, but just when they're on your site, how it's going to be presented, how they're going to operate. There's a standard that they're going to operate on. And that's so important. And I think if you can pack that into a slogan, that's even more powerful, which I think, again, like ABB does. They're putting in that capability, what they're able to do.
If you understand the products that ABB delivers and the importance to the buyer of that equipment running, it's a pretty simple concept, but if you're buying a hoist, if you're buying the electrical equipment, it's often the heart of the operation, whether it's industrial application, whether it's a mine. And when you're buying that, you just want it to run. You don't want it, anytime that's a problem, that's downtime, that's big money. So you want it to run. And when they say and what's the term? It's made to outrun?
Made to...
outrun.
Engineered to outrun.
Engineered to outrun.
So, you begin to think outrun what, and the obvious thing is the competition, right? but they're not blatant. They don't say that, they don't say we're better than everyone else, but there's some key parts to that are linked to their product, and to which they should be, right?
And to their size, just their ability to enter into a market and deliver, which a smaller company just can't do, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's I do think you should, you don't want to be arrogant in your slogans, but you also know, like we say, the voice of industry. It's a bit of a statement. Howard Stern was the king of it. He just said, "I'm the king of all media."
So, Rory or Jared, it's the difference between a voice of industry and the voice of industry.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the differentiating point, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, where it comes when you say the voice of industry. You better have the leaders of each sector you're covering, which we do, but that is important because they should be sharing. Basically, we're saying they should be sharing their message on the platform because it should be shown to thousands of people around the world in their relevant field.
Before we move on from this, I wanted to circle back to another thing that you said, Rory, is about getting marketing companies in. Now, ironically, we have been hired for that type of work over the years, Rory. But I will give this piece of advice to anybody. If the marketing company comes in, and maybe you do need it, maybe you don't, someone like yourself, Rory, you've got a pretty good, eye for marketing, and you like it, so you probably don't need it. Some people just need it. They're just not. That's not how they think. If that company, the sign that you've got the wrong company is if they start giving you ideas before they've extracted. They should see how you communicate, how your industry operates. If they don't understand that, they're going to come out with one of these unattainable outside slogans, or they're going to bring in don't talk about your service. Don't talk about how long you've been in business. Like these things, just don't use that as your slogan. And as soon as companies start touching on that sort of stuff, they really don't understand your company.
So, Jared, you had spoke with Scott and Clark Marketing, which does the marketing for Cementation, and the way we developed a relationship is I would write content, and they would make it look great.
Right. Great.
Right.
Yeah.
And as that evolved, they're making it look great, but they're reading the content too. And they're learning more and more about the company as they go. And as they went, they became more ingrained in our culture and more knowledgeable about the group. And then they could begin to develop some concepts and ideas. One of the funnest things we did, I don't know if you remember the Molson rant, I Am Canadian.
Absolutely.
There was a commercial they did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, one of the guys at Clark Marketing wrote an I Am Cementation, and they sent it to me. And I said, "This is fantastic." And I revised it a bit, and then we did it. We filmed it, and I did it. But it was We Are Cementation instead of I Am.
Hi. We don't drive trains. We don't wear striped coveralls. We don't swing pickaxes or carry canaries. And Albert Francois, I never knew him, but I'm sure he was a really, really nice guy. We come from Canada, the US, and all over the world. We speak the international language of safety. We're proud to be shaft sinkers, and we know that mucking out is a noble profession. We believe in best for project, not best for pocketbook. Innovation, not stagnation. And we know that subway really isn't underground. Tunnel is a drift. Vertical opening, that's a shaft. And you don't get underground in an elevator, you take the cage. And underground, it's a scoop. Not a front-end loader, it's a scoop. We're the purveyors of design build, the inventors of injection hoisting, and the best way to deliver mine capital projects. My name is Roy, and we are Cementation.
We got at a local high school, and I got up on stage, and we had the flag in the background. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
But we did that at a Christmas party. But the point is, they got to a point where they could take a unique idea, and because they knew us so well, they could incorporate our values and our vision into it. But that doesn't happen initially. And the smart thing they did was they worked with us and they listened, and they didn't try and press different ideas on us. They said, and they got to know us well enough where they could work with us instead of saying you should do this instead.
Yeah, because every company does have a heartbeat. Every company has a culture, and you need to be able to kind of dig in and find it. And you're going to get some stinkers, Rory. We've had some pretty lame slogans over the years. We've had a couple
good ones.
Of course, there was the fruit basket fiasco.
Oh, that's off The Office. No, that's
No, that wasn't us. That wasn't us. What are you talking about? No.
that's a skit thing.
Yeah, that never happened.
We actually released a slogan, be a leader.
Be a leader?
Be a leader. I don't think we should even say it.
Was that for, were you advertising for fishing equipment, or what were you doing there?
That would have been better.
We have Bass Pro Shops by our leaders.
I haven't even given the second half of the slogan yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Rory, do you want to go? I feel like I've been hogging the slogan space for this segment.
You want me to tell this?
Can you do it? Can you say it?
You know what? Crowns and partners. Different is.
I'm actually going red. It's actually embarrassing.
Different is what? Different is.
Oh, that was different is. Yeah, that was one. ...
Different
is as different does. What's that, Forrest Gump philosophy?
The idea was that we have a different approach to everybody else. So stupid. But Rory, no, that's not even the one I'm talking about.
Oh, is there another one?
Oh yeah.
Leader one.
Be a leader.
Oh no. Go deep. Be a leader, go deeper.
Oh, okay.
What? Oh, okay, that's enough. I forgot.
Jared, you said everyone develops stinkers, but you know it's the degree of stinkiness I think we're talking about here.
Well, be a leader, go deeper is 10 out of 10 for an atrocity.
Well, like I said, I mean, I've been in business since 2005. We have
35 years of experience.
35 years of experience.
You can't listen to that slogan if you're lactose intolerant.
Oh,
it's just too cheesy.
Well.
Okay, well, Roy, what are you talking about today?
If you need some consulting help, just give us a call.
Yeah.
We'll
call 888-333-5555.
Yeah, by the 10th try, we'll get you a good slogan. Yeah, Rory, what were you saying? I think we're moving on to the next topic. I'm assuming.
Yeah, Roy, let's talk some class action lawsuits.
Yeah, so a much more serious topic, and it bothered me to no end. But in the news in the last few days. In Australia, there's been a class action lawsuit launched against BHP and Rio Tinto for sexual harassment, and they've reached out to employees and former employees for the last 20 years and said, if you have a complaint, come to us. This is a law office, very opportunistic, I believe, and tell us your story. We're launching this lawsuit against. And I believe, from what I've read, a few years ago, the Australian government did a review on business practices and cited the mining industry as one of the industries that, struggled with sexual harassment in the industry. The worst industry was construction, probably because of the size of it, another male-dominated industry. But this suit has chosen to go after mining and pick two very large companies.
Mining they're specifically going after mining?
Yeah.
They are going. The lawsuit is against BHP and Rio Tinto.
Okay.
So not the mining industry, but they've picked
The two big players.
two big groups because they look for people with money, right?
And I looked at the and I just pulled up an article and I dropped the link in, Roy, under your section because they're talking about NDAs that were being put in to keep these women silent.
Yeah, this is, so it's. So I'm conflicted here because first of all, there's no room in our industry for sexual harassment. Simple as that. Bringing this up at this time, I think, will impact the number of women that want to join our industry. So that's a tragedy. As the industry becomes a better industry, a great career for women, you've got these things that come up, which I think are litigious in nature, and some of what I've read is not substantiated with fact.
Right.
But it's a tough one, and if there's issues, they should be dealt with. Issues that were resolved, and it's typical within the industry, and it's lawyers that recommend it and draft it, are NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. If you come to a settlement or you deal with something, and it's to protect the individual and it's to protect other individuals as well. And comments that the NDAs are preventing people to come out into this class action suit, it's just, I don't know. Like I say, I've got conflicted views on it, but the bottom line is it's obviously not good for the industry. And an industry that's done so, has improved so much in that regard. And BHP, we've done work at Jansen, and it's phenomenal what they've done to promote equity and diversity in their operations. Kudos to them, and for them to deal with this just.
And just to go further on that, so Rio Tinto is saying that they stopped using NDAs in March 2019. They will not. They're basically saying, like, if they were used and like something came up, they're void. Like, they're basically all void.
They won't use the NDAs.
They won't use the NDAs against employees.
But I think that stems from this legal firm, and I'm second guessing here, but I can see this legal firm reaching out to people and people saying, "Well, I've signed a non-disclosure agreement, so I'm not in a position to talk to you."
Yeah.
Which means they've already made a settlement of some type, or dealt with the issue in some way. But anyway, sad news on the diversity and inclusion front, because I think it's a step backwards. It's going to make it more difficult for our industry. But
I think I want to counter that, Roy.
Good companies will persevere. So
I think I want to actually counter that, because I was just talking to a friend of mine who's in the music industry, and we're talking about everything that's going on with like Diddy, and now Jay-Z's being brought into it and all that stuff. And I sort of made, and I feel like it's just a little bit similar here. I don't know if it's a step back, because I
think it's being done for the wrong reason, Jared. I think.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But what I'm getting at is, in the music, I'll talk about the music industry first. Now, the bad players are hopefully going to get fleshed out. And then you've got guys like the 50 Cents of the world, and who I'm a big fan of, so I was glad he wasn't involved in all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He's been like hinting at that this stuff's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Even in his music, he was.
And so now these
he half bucked the trend.
Yeah, there you go. But he's been, if you ever want to follow the craziest, this is where I knew he was the craziest guy ever. He did a Remember 9/11 post and then tagged his cognac in it.
Always. Every time.
He cannot help himself.
Every time.
He is insane. But
social media.
But those guys now that aren't involved in that, all of a sudden they're coming to the forefront, and they're gaining a new level of respect. They're going to attract the talent. They're going to attract the next generation of artists that want to get involved. And now all of a sudden those artists are not going to be getting directed to the P. Diddy's of the world and all that sort of stuff. So I don't think it's a step back. Even if it's for the wrong reason at times, I think it actually does challenge people to do it. Then the people that are in the right, as long as it's done legally, and it's like Jay-Z, it's alleged right now. It should be done properly. We shouldn't just cancel him because we don't even know the details yet. But it does allow the people that are doing good in the industry to step forward, and I think it actually has an opportunity to make people better and highlight the people that are good. Gaudy, any thoughts on your side of this? Like, I want to particularly frame it in that. Do you think when an industry like mining or the music industry gets challenged like this, do you think that will deter, well, let's say specifically women, I mean, in some cases men too, from getting into the industry, or does it actually almost like give an opportunity to go, okay, now I know where to go and where not to go? What are your thoughts?
Oh, that's
This is a long way from slogan writing, Roy.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
I said we're getting serious now.
I thought you were joking.
Think it's a big topic. I also think it's one that will never truly disappear. And from my perspective, I would definitely think that this actually would open doors for more women to apply to jobs, knowing that there is some sort of, I don't know.
Like accountability.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Gaudy, like BHP and Rio Tinto, if they're coming out saying like, this was terrible what happened, it almost, in a way, if more companies do that and there's actually legitimate, like, they want to grow from that and like get better, that probably almost opens the doors for people like which companies to choose. I'm just curious if that,
like if they're opening up their
Yeah.
NDAs, does that make you want to work for a BHP more or less because this company actually is taking action?
Right. Yeah. At least from my perspective, yes, I would definitely. I mean, NDAs, like they're put in place for many different reasons. It might not have anything to do with a sexual harassment suit or that. I mean, a lot of companies have NDAs the minute you walk in the door, right? So. But the fact that they're now being voided, I mean, now people can talk freely. That says a lot, Again, it's just one of those situations that I don't think will ever be the right way to deal with. I don't think because you don't know until you're in that situation. And you don't know until you're the person on the shit end of that situation.
Right.
So you can only do what you think is best and hope that it helps.
Yeah. I don't know, Roy. Like, do you kind of know what I'm getting at, Roy, with this?
Yeah.
Though?
I hear you. Yeah. No, it's a different perspective on it. I think, what I come back to, and maybe the end result will be good. Maybe it will be. The intent is not, the intent is a litigious, opportunistic approach. Is a law firm has implemented this and they've read a report the government did a few years ago and decided to look at two companies. Anyway, my opinion, right?
That's the source. That's an interesting thing because that's the source of why it's coming.
Yeah.
It's like it's like it could have a good result, but coming from the wrong source or wrong foundation.
Well, the other thing it could do is if this legal firm gets paid off and there's a settlement in this class action suit, guess what's going to happen in the States? Guess what's going to happen? I mean, the U.S. is traditionally the litigious society that everyone thinks of.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see it pop up first in Australia. But it'll, if it's successful financially, it won't be the first one.
Yeah.
The question will be, will it be successful in terms of what we just talked about, in terms of cleaning up the industry, which I believe is, we're not where we need to be, but if you're talking about the last 20 years, we've advanced quite a bit in the last 40 years in terms of equity and inclusion.
I guess,
as Gaudy said, it'll never be perfect, but it's kind of like the building, like potentially more building blocks to make it better.
Yeah, I think just one thing that pops out to my mind is it could have which again, Gaudy, kind of what you were saying and I said earlier, is I think it actually has the possibility to have the reverse effect, because when this stuff comes out, I don't think now in the music industry now there's girls that are going to go, or guys, especially in that horrible case, where they are going to go, well, I don't want to be a singer anymore. I think they actually feel like there's maybe some more avenues.
Of course, Jared, the music industry has followed the movie industry, right? The Weinstein, issues there, and everyone catering to him because he was so powerful. Right. And once it got out, everyone distancing themselves, and now the music industry has followed suit, which is great to see. We've talked before. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I'm a Swiftie or a Swifter or whatever you call it. Yeah. I like some of her songs, but it's just a different approach. She didn't have to go. She didn't have to go the sensationalism way that Madonna did, that Lady Gaga did. Yeah. The shock. The Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper was the one that started it. And then Ozzy Osbourne, but the whole shock treatment, right? Yeah. And she didn't have to do that. She's been successful based on talent, I believe. But it would be, that's what we're looking for, people that are successful based on talent in any industry.
And I think that could have been done before. I think, though, that you get these Harvey Weinsteins and that they're manipulated to make it seem like that's what it takes to be successul. And
Colonel Parker, right? It's not new. Colonel Parker managed Elvis, and what could Elvis have done if he'd had somebody? Anyway, but that's a whole other story.
Again, and I'm not disputing that the sources, the way that they're approaching it is wrong, but I do think, though, when we see it happening in the movie industry or music, we then should not. When it's sort of it was our industry's turn, you sort of need to accept it and release the NDAs. That's a great move. That's the kind of way it should be dealt with. Not, let's try to over-litigate it. Let's shut it down. Let's face it head on. And then it has at least the opportunity to be a better industry that people do feel safer coming into.
Especially with the uptick that's going to be required, people are needed. You need to get these things dealt with.
And it's personal.
You guys never attended my parties back in the day.
Oh boy.
Chicken finger buffets. It was wild. Wild.
It was an unhealthy environment, everyone.
Even P. Diddy wouldn't come.
He's like, I'm good.
And he was invited every single year.
Too wild.
Too greasy. Oh no. Okay.
KFC.
But I just one low. When you're saying about it, Roy, because I was thinking I've even got family girls at work. They go up north onto the oil fields and that sort of stuff, and it's I'm kind of in that camp. You want people to be accountable, not to the point you can't get work done. I'm not talking about that, but when people are on notice, they maybe think twice about saying the stupid thing. And
it's changed. It really has changed. Everything changes anyway, but this has changed. But like Gaudy said, it's not perfect, and we've still got a ways to go. Hopefully, this will help us progress.
Yeah, and leaders will emerge. Rory, do you have anything hilarious to talk about, Rory?
Me?
I brought the whole show down.
I'll need another beer.
I don't. I feel like we almost need to do the beer review, and then
sure.
I want to go into evaluating companies, and I know it's not. We do have 4 hours, of course, but I actually want to kind of the preface for next week now is because I know cementation has been part of acquisitions, and there's various different ways to value businesses, public or private. And I want to get into, kind of a bunch of those. But I don't really want to try and do it in 5 minutes.
Maybe we could actually do an episode sort of focused in on that, because that is a big topic. I'll gather some quotes up from people I respect.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Yeah, I want to mention something, Rory, and you can think about this for the next show. But I recently looked at a business and they stated a valuation that was about 4 times their revenue.
Mm.
Rory,
And
I told you that in private, Roy.
that, no, what you told me was 10 times.
Oh,
But
Much
this
better.
one was 4 times. And
Okay.
and for me in our industry, that didn't make any sense. But in the tech industry, maybe it makes more sense. Not my experience, but it'll be an interesting conversation on valuation. I mean, Cementation has been bought. Cementation has bought companies, and the valuation process is always valuation leads to negotiation.
Yes.
Because nobody ever agrees
Unless
at the
it's-
start.
Unless it's
So-
Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, then you get your one shot.
or Kanye West.
That's still a negotiation.
It is still.
Or
That
Kanye,
is
yeah,
true.
Kanye doesn't negotiate, does he, Jared?
Neither does Buffett. I'm telling you guys. You guys are laughing. I'm saying it's the same approach, just worded slightly different.
Roy, I'm curious now, again, because we have 4 hours. So 4 times rev, obviously, profitable company.
You know, when we look at valuations, the company trying to sell looks at the next 5 years. We look at the last 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
so that's where the initial gap appears, and then how much faith do you have that what they've projected is going to work? Anyway, yeah, that's a whole other discussion.
That's
But
going to
But
be
yeah,
a
that'll
fun
be
episode.
interesting. That's actually that's a great point because I'm going to put it in my notes for next week because it is just from that sentence alone, like 4 times revenue. Well, it changes across so many different industries. So, and I have some stories about like on personal sides, like some of the big wins, what I've looked at for evaluation based on revenue. So anyway, I'll share some more about that.
revenue
in the
is
next
is
episode.
revenue on its own is a
It's just one figure. It's just
Yeah.
one figure.
Gentlemen, do you want to do the beer review today?
yeah. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Did you get any in your glass, Rory, or was it all on your desk? Or
Most of it on the desk, but I got a couple sips in. I did think so. For me, it was pretty bitter. Is that normal for a pilsner? Showing my true beer tasting.
well, I'll summarize it. Yeah.
So I found it. I did find it pretty bitter, but of course it's not a lager. I am starting to enjoy pilsners more. And it definitely had a kick. I found.
Yeah, I was kind of the same. Like when I first drink it, I don't go, "Oh, this is delicious," but this is something you run into, especially with like the beers that add fruits and stuff. You have the first drink, you're like, "Oh, that's so good."
So good.
3/4 of the way through, you're kind of done with it. Whereas this, I don't find you get tired of it. It's
Yeah, I
kind of
could go
got a
grab
little bit
another
of
one.
bite, so you kind of get to sort of like. But that bite, as you drink more, of course, is you get a little bit of liquid courage. It sort of that bite sort of mellows a little bit, and so I feel it's kind of then becomes nicer to drink the more you drink. That's my expert review.
Yeah. So Jared, so the answer is yes. This beer when it starts out, it's a little acidic on the finish. Pilsners are traditionally they'll have a malt or lager body, a smooth body, and then a crisp finish. And the question is how crisp. And sometimes they can get that aspirin taste, which is very acidic, not aesthetic, acidic. But this one starts out that way, but the finish mellows out a bit. It's still crisp, but I find it's a nice pilsner. It's not a blue. It's not a big brewer pilsner. It's got a little more to it, and it does have a bit of a bite at the end. But my initial drinks are a little bit off-putting, but by about the second or third drink, I'm into it, and I find it quite nice.
Well, careful around the holidays on those second and third drinks, Roy. I guess you got a pub in walking distance, so you're good.
That
what do
means second or third drinks in the one beer. I'm a one
My
and done
question,
guy.
Roy, though, so you've got that one, but there's probably like 2 or 3 others that are you probably are like within a radius. Like your wife probably set it up, so you're good to go.
We've
based
just
on what you feel.
we're finalizing a Niagara brew tour, and there's about I think 14 breweries
Wow.
that'll be on that tour. So Niagara is known for its wineries, but
Yeah.
lots of breweries in this area. That's for
Jared,
sure.
when we get invited to one of these, we're going to be in big trouble.
Well, we it's a going rate though, Roy. If you'd like us to show up and talk business in front of at a brewery, we'd love to be there. Yeah, we'll send you the bill.
I just reviewed a beer from Langley.
Oh,
Really?
Curious Creatures. Yeah, it was quite.
That was my second home for
Tasty.
like 2 years.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they've got a couple breweries around the southern, southwestern
where I
BC.
wouldn't want to drink a beer from is Chilliwack.
Why, Jared? You don't want those, you don't want that musty aftertaste?
Did you say you don't want?
Don't. It's the only city.
Shout out to all the listeners in Chilliwack.
You're not a fan of the musical group?
The what?
Oh, yeah. That's a weird, what?
Never heard about Chilliwack? They had some big hits in Canada in the, I think it was in the late 70s or early 80s.
Yeah, I'm not as up on my 70s music as I should be, Roy.
Yeah.
But
That'll be when you have 55 years experience.
that's when I'm 55 years. Yeah, but Chilliwack is, I always say, it's the only city you can close your eyes and know you're there still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all the farmland, so they fertilize it. So you hit it, and you're like, and the dogs in the seat, they start standing up.
It's like Guelph here.
Is that
Oh,
Guelph?
is it Guelph? Nice.
Yeah. Shout out to Guelph.
Shout out to Guelph and Chilliwack. They're just
I've said too much.
Well, on that note, we had to go after somebody here. I think Rory went after all of Vancouver last week. I went after Hudson Bay. But well deserved though. Like, come on.
very.
Hey, my son went to University of Guelph. Great university. Beautiful city. The farmers market there is amazing. I'd highly recommend Guelph.
Yeah, and if you're there long enough, you don't even smell the shit. Okay. I'm just saying. You said it was like Chilliwack, so I'm saying.
Okay. You're not
Chilliwack's a
going to
nice
get invited
city.
to my wild parties with talk like that.
Chilliwack's a nice place. Like, they're building up the houses on the side and stuff. They're doing a great job of developing the city. But one thing,
It's so they get a really nice,
Oh.
they get a really nice smell wafting.
it's so gross.
Roy, have you had the experience?
I haven't been to Chilliwack, no.
Oh, you have no idea. You have no
It
idea.
just wafts in as you're driving through, and it takes about 30 minutes. You're just like, are you kidding me? This is 30
I've been to a lot of lumber towns.
See, but I don't mind that smell.
Shout
take
out
that.
to Kamloops.
Shout out to Kamloops. All right, we're going to stop. We're going to stop.
Okay, enough. Yeah, enough.
What did you rate this beer, Roy?
I gave it a 15. I like it. I think it's a Pilsner with a little extra bite. It's not your typical big brewer Pilsner. And I'm a little bit partial to the local brewery as well. But and that's the rating it got at the tasting this year at the AGM.
Okay. Well, let's.
Jared, I agree with what you said though. Like a second one, third one, sixth one, you're gonna. It's good. Like you don't want to drink a 12-pack of like that sweet fruity beer.
No, I could have another one of these. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have two. We should have a 1 beer rating and then a 2 beer rating, Roy.
I have my own rating.
What is your rating?
By the end of the episode, if the beer's gone, it was good. If there's still a little bit of beer, it wasn't that good.
But is that for 1 beer or 2 beer? Because
Oh, Roy's like, oh shit.
I had a
It's just a little bit.
Roy, you have to knock it down by the 14.
we should start doing like tequila and like Scotch reviews and those
down.
kind of. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You had me at tequila.
I know.
Mezcal. Oh, I love a good mezcal.
yeah. Sammy Hager.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gaudy, for producing it. Shout out to Devin, who is in Winnipeg.
Who goes to Winnipeg?
Who goes to Winnipeg?
Devin.
Go, I guess.
We got to stop. We got to stop.
Devin on Earth.
Devin.
Hey, Jared, tell me what you think about the wonderful city of Edmonton.
I hate Edmonton.
I love Edmonton.
I hate that
Thank
city.
you.
I
I
hate
hate
that
their
city
team.
so much.
Connor McDavid, the mall, the West Edmonton Mall.
The Oilers like now, since like with the Oilers facing the Canucks, they enrage me.
You know why? Can I tell you why I hate Edmonton? I find it boring. I find their grid system boring. Like, if you go to Vancouver or even Calgary, you kind of like wind through and there's some like character.
Yeah,
Literally,
you get stuck in traffic for 18 hours.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
great.
I know.
Yeah.
But in Edmonton,
I spent an hour and a half with a character in the cab going to see you guys in New Westminster.
yeah, you start. Yeah, if you're
Why?
driving
I was
all
in
the
for
way,
character.
yeah, you start a fight with your wife because you take too long turns and you don't want to look at the GPS and all that sort of stuff. I like that. In Edmonton, it's just a grid. There's just no soul to it. I hate that city. I want that on the record.
Shout out Edmonton.
Shout out Edmonton.
I'm going to Edmonton I think in February for a CIM event, and I'm looking
are
forward
you?
to it.
You couldn't pay me enough to go to that city.
Jared will be there next week.
I'll be there next for like $20. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Gaudy, what is your least favorite city in Canada? Let's wrap up with that. Don't say every city in Canada. Don't say that. We are in Canada. We can't do that.
Damn.
Least favorite city you've been to in Canada?
I haven't been to a lot of cities in Canada, I have to say, so I don't think I should say
I like
anything.
Montreal.
Montreal's nice.
Montreal's a nice city. Quebec City. Those are two
It's
nice.
hard to say. I mean, I didn't see much of Montreal, so
I love them all. I've been everywhere. I've been, Ian Tyson's song.
If they have a nice beer, you're kind of set.
Yeah. Just not Edmonton. Okay, thank you, everybody. We will see you on the next episode of The Crownsman Show. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to check out our show. We've got Mining Now, Building Energy, The Construction Show, Agriculture Now, The Crownsman Show. You can also be a guest. Reach out to us. Anything to add, anybody, or is that good? Are we good for the day?
And cranky old men drinking beer.
Cranky old men drinking beer. Thank you so much for your support.
Cranky old men drinking beer. Thank you so much.
Rory, your support has got me into cars, so I really do appreciate what you've done for our company.
And don't
Thank
think
you
I
so
don't
much.
appreciate the fact that you appreciate it.
Absolutely. Go Edmonton Oilers. Okay, see you on the next episode of The Crownsman Show.